So, welcome to the show. A bit of a drumming legend, if you don't mind me saying so. I'm a little bit starstruck. Welcome to the show, Mr. Reid Maxwell. Reid, how are you, sir?
Rob, I'm very well. I'd like to say that I wish I was welcoming you from beautiful British Columbia today, but as I looked out this afternoon here, it looks more like Glasgow Green on a Friday.
And we all know what that's like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Lashing, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's good to be here. Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
Not a top. If anything, I've got so many questions, Reid. I'm going to try and get them all crammed into one quick interview. But first of all, for those of you who are watching the YouTube video right now and not on the podcast, Reid, can you tell us about these drum heads behind you, especially the black one that's behind you? Is that the iconic one from '95?
That would be that head. That's the drum head that was on the drum when the SFU band, we won our first World Pipe Band Championships at Scotstoun. That year it was moved to there before it moved to Glasgow Green, where it's now there. The one on the other one is just a really cool head that somebody designed for us, and it was done specifically for the concert that we did in New York City at the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts.
Yes.
And
yes.
and it's become a bit of a favourite because, unfortunately, we've lost a couple of band members, Andrew Bonar being probably the most prominent one that people would know, and Brittany Angelvet. And they played the show, and their signatures are on there. So it's become a favourite head because you always feel kind of like you have them with you, if you know what I mean.
Aye. Oh, 100%, yeah.
And then this old one over here is 1987 World Pipe Band Championships at Bellahouston Park, the old Bellahouston Park, 78 Fraser Highlanders. So I've managed to keep that, and I actually have the snare drum head on this over here that I played on that day as well. I kept that.
Wow.
So it's a wee bit of history, you know.
I tell you, some history in that. And if anything, Reid, that's where I want to start. Back in 1987, in charge of the 78th. Obviously, you guys recorded that, what is now the iconic concert live in '87. First of all, can you tell me about that concert? You guys landed in Ballymena, and was it just on stage and go, or how was the whole night?
Well, we'd been rehearsing and working up for that show for pretty much a whole year. We were preparing to come back to the Worlds after the '86 Worlds. We were preparing to come back, do the concert, and then also play at the Worlds a couple of days later. And so we got to Ballymena. People there that looked after us. I mean, unbelievable. We couldn't have asked for better hospitality, better hosts. It was just an amazing time. Lots of time spent getting ready for it. I think the last thing that we put together for that show before we left Canada was Journey to Sky.
Journey to Sky set. That was the last one that you put together, right?
We'd been working on it through the summer, and it was played very casually while we were in the tuning park at the last contest we played at before we left for Northern Ireland. And so that was it. But that was actually the last piece that we sort of finally put together, getting all the wee things that we wanted to do. But a lot of the show was a lot of the show had been in place, because basically what we did is we took all the music that the band had been playing in the last 5 years and showcased it on that one album. And so that was that. You know, we got there, we were feeling very good because we were so rehearsed, because we'd been playing a lot, you know, as you can well imagine. I mean, there was challenges on the night, the acoustics in the hall. Of course, lots of drummers love that recording because the drums are so vibrant and loud in it, you know. I like to kid people that's why it's so popular. It's because the drums. But one of the interesting, one wee quirky thing I'll tell you, a guy called Bob McDowell was the recording engineer for Lismore Records, and he just could not believe how loud the drums were in the room. And so what he ended up doing is he cut all the mics for the drums.
He cut
and
them?
He just went with what the mics were picking up in the hall.
Wow.
And lo and behold, it worked out. he didn't know
Wow.
what he was a wee bit. It was a bit of a challenge, but it all came right. And with any live performance, I think that you'll take the acoustics of the night and the excitement, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience, and a great way to. I think in some ways, when you look back, and I've had the opportunity to do this a few times in the last 20 some years playing with SFU. When you've got a wee bit of a project that week before the Worlds, it's not a bad thing to keep your mind just that wee bit, instead of being so centrically focused.
Yeah.
So
Gives
keep you
gives you that little bit of something extra to think about outside of the circle. Yeah,
aye.
exactly. We talked about that on the show before about bands who do the pre-Worlds concert and then sometimes go on to win it. I think St. Lawrence did it in 2010. You guys did it in '87. There is a bit of a trend there with bands who do that.
Yeah, when we played the Affirmation concert in 2009, and then we went on a couple of days later to win the Worlds. And
Hmm.
I've got to say, we had a great week that week. And see, after the concert was over on the Wednesday night,
Hmm.
playing at the Worlds was like pardon the pun, but it was like a walk in the park to play well, because you went from carrying 2.5 hours worth of material to just playing a couple of MSRs and a couple of medleys. It was quite easy.
A bit of a relief then in comparison then. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, if anything then, Reid, I have to ask you then about 1995, lifting the worlds with SFU for the first time. Can you tell me what the feeling was in the band when you heard the name read out on the park that day?
Um, well, um, I would say for guys like Terry and Jack, I think there was also a sense of relief built into the excitement because they had been so close before.
Yeah, yeah.
And in my pipe band life, I've been a lucky guy. I played in a tremendous band in Scotland before I emigrated to Canada, the Dysart and Dundonald band, and I
Mm,
had won the Worlds with the 78 Fraser Highlanders. But don't underestimate the importance of that and how amazing it was to win. It was
yeah.
just incredible. But the band felt that we played really, really well, and we felt that we couldn't have done more than we did that day. And it was, we had a good draw because that was the time when they were ranking the bands,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
we had a tremendous. We just had a. It just all went well. We were well practiced in '95 when we went to the Worlds. That was our second visit to Scotland that year because we had gone to Stirling in '95 to play at
Hmm.
I think it was the Scottish Pipe Band Championships at that time in Stirling.
Yeah.
And so we were, I think what happened in '95 when we went to Stirling, we got the band up to this level that it would never have played it in June before. And then we came back and we didn't take a break. We're just right at the local competitions. And then so as we were then getting into that, getting ready for the World Pipe Band Championship mode, we were starting at July, sort of a month, 5 weeks out, at a higher level perhaps than we would have been. And I think that we made our own momentum and capitalized on it. And,
Yeah.
and, and that kind of worked for us.
That's it. And momentum does carry for a lot, I think, certainly. When it comes to lifting the big in, 95 was a huge year for SFU. But there's another couple of years also through the 2000s, 2008, 2009. You guys had an incredible run over those 2 years. What was that like?
Um, it was it was really quite spectacular. I would say that, I mean, we won in '95 and '96, so one could argue that that was a purple patch of the band.
Hmm.
And then, of course, '99, not all that, just a couple of years in, and then we were lucky to get there's a shout again. And then the 2000, it didn't go our way that day, and then we came back the next year, and geez, the shout went our way again. So,
Hmm.
one could
Yeah.
say that that's a maybe a span of 6 or 7 years there where it was our purple patch, but there was a maturity and a sort of calmness to the band in many ways in 2008 and 2009.
Hmm.
And we were very disappointed after the 2007 Worlds. Drummond didn't really go our way that day result wise, and we were mad as hell. But we didn't complain. It's not really our way. We just came back and say, right, let's get the sleeves rolled up. And what we basically did is we sort of set the concert stuff aside and say, right, let's get the competition stuff going, and we'll have enough concert stuff sitting there should we decide to do something before we go back to Glasgow in 2008. And then we were asked to do the 2009 concert. And I've got to say that it was a bit of a special feeling there, because we played that concert as the reigning world champions, not knowing how things were going to go the next couple of days, but we put on a good show that was incredibly well received. I mean, the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall crowd was amazing, and the next, and then we had a couple of easy days, as I said to you earlier there, and that was just really good. I think we had done a lot of concerts. We had done concerts already in that hall, and so we knew what we were dealing with. So there wasn't surprises. It was just like, this is how it's going to go. And so we'll just do it. And so there's a lot to be said about having the experience of having done things like that as well, Oh,
100%, yeah. And if anything, we've got an emailed question in from one of our listeners, actually, who asked, which party was better, 2008 or 2009? The celebration win, which one was better?
Oh, goodness. I couldn't say that any one was better than the other. One of the things, and maybe this is a little bit of an age thing, but see, when you get back from the Worlds, you seem to be more and more exhausted by the time you get back to your digs that night in the
100%,
bus.
yeah.
And so sometimes the actual celebration doesn't start until the next day, but it's only partial because some guys have already left because they're working on Monday and they're trying to get home. But I would say, I think there was a sense in 2009 that because of the concert going well, and we were all very pleased with that, you got a sense that you win this imaginary event, which is the concert, but you're the only band anyway, so you're guaranteed to win. And then it all went really well on the Saturday. So I would say that there was probably a wee bit of magic in the air, and a special, because it's very hard to win the World Pipe Band Championships. It's even harder to retain the World Pipe Band Championships, So it was a nice weekend, a nice week, you could say.
That's it in total. So, Reid, I have to ask you then, obviously 2020 has been an awful year for piping and drumming. Everything's been cancelled. It's just been terrible. But how have SFU and yourself been coping with lockdown and all of that?
Well, I guess we're probably about the same as everybody. We're dealing with it by getting together on Zoom. We kept the band going right into July. On Zoom, the pipers were doing their thing, we were doing our thing, and just to kind of keep it going. We traditionally don't get back to band until after this weekend. We'd normally get back, so I would imagine within the next couple of weeks we'll start back up to and just start to at least get something happening on the Zoom, do what we can. Like it is in the UK, we are restricted in doing certain things here, not because we don't want to, but because of rules and regulations laid down by the government. Yeah. So it's either the Canadian government in Ottawa or the provincial government in Victoria. And so you can't get together in so many groups. And of course, our practice facility is at SFU. Well, there's all the classes at SFU are online right now. So there's little chance that they're going to bend rules and or open up space for the band when they're not even opening it up for the students. So we're at a wee bit of a dilemma right now, but hopefully we'll see how they go into the new year. But it's really weird. When you don't go to band or you cancel band, it's always something that you decide to do yourself. Guys, let's take the week off, Oh, no problem. Oh, great. Thanks for that. Or if you've got something on or you decided to go on holiday and you have to miss for a couple of weeks or something, that it's always on your own call, Yeah. But here we are in this massive 8-month-long high. Well, we're on hold. And it's completely out with our control, and not just in a small way. It's a global thing, as you said. It's
Yeah.
affected the entire place, you know.
Oh, completely. Yeah. If anything, though, recently, ourselves in the Rab Show, we were involved in live streaming coverage from events in New Zealand. We've seen competitions in Australia now. So things are slowly starting to open up now, hopefully. So,
Yes.
how do you see the future of piping and drumming in, I don't know, the next year, the next couple of years? I dare say it'll be a completely different landscape.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I want no more than to be able to go to Scotland next year and play at the World Pipe Band Championships, but
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to happen.
That's
I'll
it.
be
With international travel, it's bound to be so difficult at the moment. Yeah.
well. This is it. I mean, you're dealing with going into other countries. I mean, we can't even get things done in our own country because of restrictions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now we're so. I absolutely hope I'm so wrong on this because I can't wait to buy my ticket. I mean, I haven't seen my family, albeit on FaceTime either. So there's a little extra added incentive to want to get home and see folks and that as well. But I think that there's an outside chance that it would go. If I think 50-50 is about the best odds you would get for it at the moment.
Yeah.
And I absolutely hope I'm wrong. I just hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
And
well, I'm right there
and we
with
get
you.
to do it.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong as well. Yeah, and I'll be able to crack a beer with you in the beer tent next year. I hope that's the
Right.
case.
All right.
So I need to ask you then, Reid, about your relationship with Andante. We've had quite a number of people, obviously from Northern Ireland, who listen to the show, and they're interested to know how a small drum company from Northern Ireland have drums played by multiple world champion band and like how does that work? How did the relationship with Andante first start with SFU?
Well, it wouldn't have been the first time that I had been approached before he passed away by Sam.
Ah,
You
yes,
know,
yeah.
and you know, if there's a sad thing in how sometimes things turn out, it's I wish I could turn the clock back and he got to see the SF and hear the SFU band playing on his product. But Sam
Yeah.
had sadly passed away before we made the switch, and it was really a guy, a good friend of mine called Ian Lawson from Lurgan,
Yeah.
who opened the door because he was good friends with the people there, and we went to see the guys at Andante, and one of the great things, and to this day, I love it. If you've got a problem, you can get a hold of Nigel.
It's very easy to
You
get a
know what
hold
I
of,
mean?
yeah.
Well, he'll get back to you, and you know that when you're talking with somebody, it's not this corporate thing, you know,
Aye.
and there's a really great connection there. And, you know, we're now 10 years on. We're actually waiting on delivery of a new set anytime, any day
Ooh,
now,
lovely.
for which it would have been for, of course, the 2020 season, but it'll now be hopefully for the 2021 season. So quite excited to see that come in. And they're just lovely folks, working hard, make a great stuff. And it kind of it's well, if you know the people there, it's quite a family.
Oh,
And
yeah.
SFU, we've always sort of thought ourselves as being a family. So you could say in no small way, it's the coming together of a couple of families, one who make product and the other one who plays the product. And we've just really enjoyed. They've always been really good. They've been to see us. They came to New York when we did the show because we just had a new set of drums from them there, and it was easy for them to come over. So just we like the vibe, I guess you could like. Of course, we like the product. That's lovely, and some of the adjustments that they've made to keep themselves out there at the front has been really good. We certainly like the new waterproof heads a
Oh,
wee bit
yes.
better
Yeah.
as well. The yellow heads are fantastic, but the white ones, just it's one less thing to be concerned about, you know, on a rainy
Yeah.
day, which unfortunately, you know,
Happens a
we get.
lot.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And if anything, ourselves, we visited the factory ourselves, and as soon as we arrived, grab us yourself, and there's a cup of tea and a sandwich, and sit down and talk
Yeah,
for half an hour before we even get there
yeah,
doing what we're supposed to be doing and recording a radio
yeah.
show. Yeah, so that's one thing. I completely agree. It is definitely a family business, and all of you have
Yeah.
definitely have that vibe.
I think they go the extra mile to try and get you what you want, you know, like
Mm.
when it's coming up with original colors and trying to get something that's a wee bit different and stuff like that, you know, because I mean, when you play in a bright orange kilt like we do, there's certain colors that you're just not going to go with.
Yeah, that's true. There's
You
not
know,
much.
you're somewhat limited, you know, but they're always so good. I do believe that Adrian has a lot to do with that side of things, but they're really nice people, and I definitely see that that relationship continuing to grow. Certainly, while I'm still in the band, anyway.
Fantastic stuff. Now, I have to say, I was listening to a previous interview with yourself on Tartan Town, where you talked about your drumsticks, and you're actually going to be releasing a new set of sticks. Actually, was it
Yeah,
that?
we're waiting to. Well, we would have had them launched by now, but
Yeah,
basically I've gone back to do my sticks with Adrian and Nigel and Dante, just
yeah.
kind of keeping it close for all the same reasons that the drums work. It's just a good move, and we're quite happy with that. We've got prototypes here that I've been banging on, so just a case of waiting. Just a case of waiting on things getting up and running. I guess you could say there's no real rush if everything sort of pans out and we can get something ready to go when the calendar hits 2021. That'll be fine.
There you go. Grand. So watch this space then, Reid, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We'll let you know.
So can I ask you then some big Rab Show staples before I let you go? First of all, can you tell us, has there been any one outstanding moment in all of your drumming career that you could say, that's awesome? One
Oh
real
well.
standout moment for you. It's a difficult one.
Whew. Yeah. Um. Oh, I couldn't give you one. I mean, I could say that the very first time that I actually had to go up to the podium and collect the sash
Yeah.
as a lead drummer. It was truly magnificent. I was so bad and I was so overcome by the whole thing. I couldn't even figure out how to put it on. You know what I mean? Like I knew it
Yeah,
went the
yeah.
opposite way from your sling, but you end up there and you're just a mess. And and I think when when we won in '99, it was truly amazing. We we broke this massive string of victories that had been compiled by the great Jim Kilpatrick
Yeah.
and his drum corps at Shots, and you know I think it was like 11 years in the trot that they won, and then we were lucky enough to get that one. And I always tell people that in a span of 13 years, only two people ever won the sash, and that was the 78 Fraser Highlanders in 87, and all those years later. So there was a bit of a special moment there for the SFU, you know, and I
If
could
anything,
say,
yeah,
you know, like it's so hard, you know, like maybe, for example, a great moment was to walk on the field and my son played in the corps.
I see. Yeah, so many, right? I'm sure. Yeah,
You know, like how
yeah.
do you beat that? You know,
That's it. Yeah.
so cool
Mm.
for that. You know, so it's really hard because you know there's the competitive part of it, and then there's sometimes the non-competitive part means more because it just lasts. It's something that's you know it's not based on anybody else's opinion. It's just based on a moment in time, really. You know.
Yeah, that's it exactly, and the feeling that it gives you being a part of it, 100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I know that we have asked you probably the big staple is what your favorite cheese is. We know that already, but we do need to know. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
I'm indifferent. If it comes, I'll eat it. If it's not on, I don't complain. I don't really care.
There you go. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. And also, I think this is a question that we do ask about the most memorable moment, which is a difficult one, but possibly an easier one is, have you got a most embarrassing moment? Is there anything that stands out to you to go, oh no, something really cringeworthy?
Not actually, really, other than sometimes showing up to a gig and you've left your sticks and your harness in the house.
Oh no, you haven't done that, have you?
Yes. One time I left my kilt hanging at the door, went out, but fortunately I got a mile down the road and realised I had done it.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
that would maybe be my most cringeworthy. There could be some people that will listen into the show and say, "Oh, I can't believe Maxwell got out of that so easy." What about that time when he,
So if anyone has any stories, you can comment and let us know.
Absolutely.
So, Reid, if anything, then we really hope that in the future we will see yourself, the rest of the guys at the band, all back on the grass again as soon as possible. But before I let you go, I have to ask you for some patented, great Reid Maxwell advice. You've been involved in tuition and that for the longest time. And in all of your years of teaching, do you have any kind of, not tips or hints and stuff, but the best word of advice you can give to someone who's lifting the sticks for the first time?
I want to make sure as a teacher that what I'm teaching them to do is cool. There's not a young kid on the planet right now that doesn't want to do something or be with the crowd that's cool. So
Yeah.
I'm not teaching them drums to start. I'm teaching them cool. I'm going to teach you something cool. And once you get them, then you've got them. And the other thing, I just started a young student 2 weeks ago. He's been playing in a grade 4 band for the last 15, 16 months. And I said, Callum, I'm happy to take you on as a student, but you've got to do 2 things. You've got to work really hard and you've got to have fun.
That's great advice, though. Yeah.
So, try and take away the other stuff. But kids, I mean, I think when I grew up in Scotland, cool was something that you realized when you went outside and it was a bit on the cool side,
Yeah.
But of course it's become this word, and kids want to feel like they belong. And so I think that no matter what you teach, whether it be social sciences or mathematics or playing the accordion or playing anything, you've got to make sure that how you're doing it is so cool that they hang on to your every word. And if you can teach that, then they will keep coming back and they will practice because they want to be cool and learn more cool things.
More cool things, yeah. Backsticking, throwing them about the place and juggling. Class.
Absolutely anything. It's got to be cool.
Indeed. So again, thank you so much for taking time to chat to us here on the Rab Show. Really appreciate your time. And please send the best to everyone else in the corps and on the band. Let them know we're asking about them.
I'll send out a couple of messages tonight, Rab. And thanks so much for reaching out to myself. And very happy to help, and good luck.
No bother at all. Thank you very much, Reid. I'll chat to you again, I'm sure. Bye.
Yes, thanks, Rab. Thank you. Bye.